to the NFL show on the Sauter on Sports Podcast Network. I am Mark Sauter. He is Java Joe, and it is so good. Had to take the week off last week, and it is so good. Haven't been on since Thanksgiving. And so, before we get to anything else, ad reads, the 10 minutes that I talk without giving Joe any airtime at all, to start the show. Joe, good to see you. And how was your Thanksgiving, brother?
Thanksgiving was good. Solid week. Lots of good food. Family's good. We had some pretty cool football. So yeah, all in all, dope time.
Yeah, it's too bad. Thanksgiving's come and gone. There's no sense in kind of talking about it now, but that was quite the week. And I feel like, 'tis the season where every week just now it's serious, right? It's ramping up. And that was no different this past week. Before we get started, let everybody know this show is brought to you by First Round Collectibles. Right now, promo code SPORTS10. Get 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. They have an ongoing sale up to 10% off whatever card you want. What am I saying? Ongoing sale up to 50% off selected cards. And with our promo code SPORTS10, not only do you get 10% off of regular price items, but sales items as well. That means up to 60% off selected cards in the First Round Collectibles store. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. Promo code SPORTS10 for 10% off regular price items and up to 60% off sales price items. That's SPORTS10 promo code at firstroundcollectibles.com and Total Apex Sports, Total Apex Media. As always, so grateful to be on board with them. All right, so Sunday's over, and you're looking back on the week that was. Detroit, essentially Detroit and Dallas. Now Dallas is a part of this thing now, both fighting for their playoff lives. Huge win by Detroit on Thursday night. And then as the Sunday goes on, right, you get the Packers with the big win. I thought the Bears were, the first half was what it was, but I thought that they were really impressive down the stretch. Really good showing for them. And I know it's not about, moral victories, but I do think that question of, are the Bears legit? Are the Bears for real? That question is allowed to be in your mind. It is. Even with the record they have, even with the wins that they've been racking up, it's still okay to wonder, is this team actually good or not? And that performance in the back half of that game on Sunday, I think, said as much. The Bucs losing to the Saints, now tied for the division lead with the Panthers. You have the whole Danny Dimes situation going out. The Jags putting the beat down on the Colts. The Steelers with a big win. The Ravens just continue to not look good, and it finally bit them on Sunday. You had the Bengals and the Bills. What a terrific game that was. That game was in the bag. Cincinnati had it. As slim as the playoff hopes were, they were still alive. And then two massive blunders by Burrow. One of them not his fault, one of them his fault. And that's basically the season. All these things. Then Sunday night comes. The Texans, big win, effectively ending the season for KC. Now, that's been the narrative. That's been the talking point, and it's not incorrect. However, they're still 6-7. They obviously have to win out, and they're going to need a lot of help. They're going to need the Texans to lose, and they're going to need the Bills to lose, and they're going to need a lot of things to break their way. So now it's not like their destiny is not in their hands, which is what makes this so complicated for them to make it. So lots to talk about, right, Joe? Lots to talk about. all of these things, all of these playoff implications, all of these storylines, and I don't care about any of them because Philip Rivers is coming out of retirement to at least join the practice squad. 44 years old, 10 kids, a grandfather now, which I did not know. That was something that completely went by me. To come back and play for the Indianapolis Colts. And I have so many questions about this. And I feel like we shouldn't talk about this for too long because of all of the, like I said, really important business that took place on the football field. But how do you not talk about this? Like growing up, and you and I were close enough to the same age where we can say, like, Philip Rivers was the guy, at least for me. Maybe this wasn't the case for everybody. Philip Rivers was a guy that just was so easy to root for. I just always wanted him to do well. And it's he's one of those players that you look back and you have a conversation. Who was the greatest player to not win? Right? Who was the greatest player to not win a championship? He was eligible for the Hall of Fame. Now, if he actually signs a contract, that now gets reset by 5 years, but odds are he was going to the Hall of Fame. So before I go on and on and on about my thoughts about all this, Joe, what on earth is happening, first of all? And second of all, where are you at with Philip Rivers, our guy, my guy, everyone's guy, coming back 5 years removed, or four or 5 years removed? And is it, listen, I'm a father of two, all right? I have a 3-year-old and an 8-month-old, or 9 months. I can't do the quick math on it. I like kind of, you know, leaving for a bit sometimes and kind of getting away from it all and getting lost in my work. Is it really about football? Is it the fact that Matt Stafford is about to break all of his, not records, but pass him in certain records? Or is it that he just has 10 kids and he needed just to take a break? Because I think that the latter is in play more than people are giving it credit for. What do you think about this Philip Rivers situation?
It's funny you should say that because in my podcast group chat, that was one thing that I said. Is like, dude's got 10 kids, brother. Like, he probably just wants to get out of the house. I mentioned that, so like when you said that, it tickled me. I was like, oh yeah, I was thinking the same thing actually. But truthfully, not all of them are in the house. But I don't know. You watch that press conference. Let's just start real quick. The first thing he says is like, "Oh, cool, no Zooms. Everybody's here." And I was like, and it clued into everyone. Like, oh my god, the last time he played was COVID. Like, at least that's when it clicked to me. I mean, I know everybody's been saying, "Oh, it's been 5 years. It's by 5 years," and I've known that subconsciously because I've heard it. But like the moment when it clicked for me was the first sound bit when he gets into the press conference and everyone's like, and he's like, "Oh wow, no Zoom calls. This is great." And I was like, "Oh god, he hasn't played since COVID. Oh, this is gonna be must see TV if he gets the start. If he gets the call, it's instantly must see TV." So yeah, I mean that's what I thought. I was like, this man literally, like, we joke around like Flacco. Teams have been plucking Flacco off the couch for years now. And but like he's somewhat played though, right? Like he's been an active quarterback this whole time. No one has rostered Philip Rivers for 5 years. So it's like that in your brain when you sit with that is like, yo, like, is he good? Um does he have arthritis? Does he know when it's cold before anyone else? Like, these are all questions that we have. in this age bracket. I'm 40, okay? So I can say, like, these are all the things in my brain that I think I was like, does he know when it's cold? Does he know when it's gonna rain before everyone else? Those aches and pains when you first get up in the morning, does he get those? Like, and we're thinking about playing football, the NFL football this weekend off the couch. Like, this is really happening. This is insane to me.
And listen, I'm not a conditioned athlete, okay? Although I gotta say, beer league on Saturday morning, I had quite the game. I had a goal. I'm a defenseman. Had a goal, a couple of cookies. Was I -2 or 3 or 4 or 5? It doesn't matter. But it's the point column that matters the most. I'm not a professional athlete. I am 36, and I cannot wake up without making audible like sounds. Like, like I roll over and I make noises. Exactly. Listen, I love it. I love this so much for sheer content. Okay, this is what we do. We're writers. We're podcasters. We're in the media. No matter how small the footprint might be, this is what we do. And I want content. I love it so much. I'm a big Phillip Rivers fan. Like I said, he was one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch growing up, which is hilarious to say that. Yeah. Growing up, he was one of my favorite. Now he's not even that much older than us, like if you really think about it. But this is the thing. I heard a podcast this morning and they were talking about this, trying to like make the case for this working, right? And like you said, 2021 was the last time he played football. He had, and this is this podcast now making the case, right? He had over 4,000 yards. He had a good season. Okay. Lost in the playoffs to, who did they lose to? It was 27-24. They lost.
I just heard it.
Was it the Broncos? Wasn't the Broncos. Who was it? He had over 300 yards. Like, he had a good game.
Buffalo.
He had a good game. He had a good performance. Over 4,000 yards that season. And that's all well and good. That was 4 years ago. Actually, 5 years ago, because it was January of 2021, correct? That was a long time ago. The conversation of he is a coach for a Catholic high school, and he runs the same playbook that Shane Steichen plays. Now, while that is not nothing, yes, it's beneficial to know the playbook. That doesn't mean a whole lot to me if you haven't played football in 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, knowing the playbook is important. And so that's why I say it's not nothing. But how much of a something is it? Like, I don't know how much that actually like matters. But I love it. Like I said, as far as content goes, but like all of these straws that we're grasping at for like why this is a good idea, none of them matter to me. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, we will not know if this is a good idea until he's on the football field. Now, Leonard, I know, got hurt. All right. I get it. As you and I were talking before the show, full participant in practice. What does that mean? This is why I don't like this. Or not even don't like it, but like my questions about it. And I'm not trying to poo-poo on it, because once again, if he starts, I'm watching. Like, I am there and I'm watching 100%. But if you're the Colts, what does this do? Like, what are you trying to do? Like, are you trying to finish the season as far as make it to the playoffs? Is that it? Because I'm sorry, like, I feel pretty confident in saying, like, you're not winning the Super Bowl with Phillip Rivers. You're not. A 44 guy who hasn't played in 5 years. I don't feel like that's going out on a limb to say that. Like, you're not. Now, that would be great. Like I said, one of the all-time guys that you wish won, if he did come back and, like, obviously that would be great. And I guess this year with, yes, the Bills, they got Josh Allen, but there's a lot of questions on that team. The Ravens are more than likely not making it to the playoffs. The Steelers are the Steelers. We all know what they're going to do. They're going to get in and they're going to get curb stomped in the first round. The Chiefs are more than likely not getting in. Like, if there's a year to do it, like the Patriots and the Broncos are the 1-2 seed, more than likely, and they're both young. And they don't have a lot of playoff experience as far as the quarterbacks go. So, yeah, there's a world where you're like, you know what? If there's a year for Phillip Rivers to come back and go on a run, I guess this is it. If you don't think that you can win the Super Bowl with this guy, wouldn't it be better just to let Leonard play? Unless he really is too hurt to play. And even then, I don't know, man. I really question why do this. Why? Like, what's the point of this? It's a great story, and I hope it goes well, and I hope we see him out there just for the fun of it all. But from a Colts perspective, I don't really understand it, to be honest.
Well, you have to answer to all the other players on that team, and all the other players up until this point, they're 8-5 with a shot at making the playoffs. So I think the guys that are in that locker room, the fact that you've traded high draft capital for Sauce Gardner to be on this team, those are win now moves. Those are we are going for it moves. And I think if you're not trying everything to make this season as best as it's possible, you're doing a disservice to that locker room, because everything you've done up until this point is to win now. And to a certain extent, you're doing a disservice to Daniel Jones, who literally gave it all to get them to this point.
My heart breaks for him, by the way. This sucks.
Right?
I
So
hate it.
yeah, I hate that for him, especially since he's already had one of these in the sense of being out for a year because of an ACL. So he's already experienced this to an extent of having a long rehab and having a long process in getting yourself back ready to play again. So that in itself is already tough. But yeah, I think from the Colts standpoint, I think that's what you're doing here. And I think when you look at anybody that would have been on the street that had any kind of remote experience, this is what they came up with, and they made a phone call. And listen, Shane has a history with Phillip, has worked with Phillip before. And as you already said that, he's very fluent in a Steichen offense. So if you're going to, pluck someone off the street, I guess that would be your guy. Flacco's not available. He's in Cincy, but they're in the AFC. They're not inclined to help anyone in the AFC. We're just gonna waive him, and then anybody else in the AFC would just claim him out of spite, just so that they don't get them. So I mean, why even play that game? Why even do that? So I think this they felt this was the best opportunity to cover all their bases, and I get it, and I'm not mad at it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Is an understatement. I can't wait for it, and I obviously hope that it does happen. All right, moving on. I struggle where to go to next because, like I said at the top of the show, there's like so many great and positive storylines. I there are two teams that lost over the weekend that I really felt, and one more strongly than the other. The Chiefs and the Ravens, to me, and the Ravens for the whole game, and the Chiefs for part of the game, did not play like a team or like two teams who were hanging on for dear life. You know what I mean? Like, the season is in the balance. Like, every game for both of those two teams is must win. And especially the Ravens, man, it just did not feel like I was watching a football team who had to win that game and who knew they had to win that game. And for the Chiefs, you could feel it kind of wake up. You could feel them kind of wake up and kind of realize, like, oh, shoot, we have to win this game. What I found very curious to me about the Chiefs side of this all is, number one, what I'm about to say is being said by a lot of people, and it's almost taking away the victory from the Texans. The Texans have come to life, man. 0-3. I believe you and I, at least I said on this show, this team is done. I had high hopes for them coming into the season. I thought it was done. It was finished. The offense still has its issues, has its struggles. Collins is the guy. I feel like Stroud, even though the stats might not suggest it, I thought he actually played pretty well Sunday night. That defense is just insanely good, and it could be the reason why this team might not just win one playoff game. Like, they might go on a little run here because that defense is that good. The Chiefs shot themselves in the foot so much on Sunday night that they don't have feet anymore. Like, they don't. I don't know how many shots. I don't know how many bullets it takes to completely blow your feet off. I guess it depends on the gun. I don't know. I'm not American. I can't answer these questions, but I can tell you that it felt kind of, not in a good way, not in a positive way. It felt kind of poetic, man. Like negative poetry, right? Like dark poetry of, you are Patrick Mahomes. None of your guys could make a play for you. And he didn't play perfect. That one throw to Kelsey was behind him. However, Kelsey makes that catch, man, 10 out of 10 times. You know, Rashid Rice, Worthy, like all these guys, man, like no one could make a play for him. That decision by Andy Reid to go for it on fourth down there, I think it was towards the end of the fourth quarter, was like, that Texans offense, they were not doing anything at that point in the game. They were doing nothing. Your defense was cooking just like theirs was, but your defense was cooking. What are you doing? Like, it felt like a flex. It felt like my balls are bigger than yours, and this is what we're gonna do. And that was the ball game. And I don't know, man. It was a weird thing for me to watch the Chiefs lose, but they didn't lose. Like, they didn't lose a hard fought 20-19, just couldn't make a play in the final 30 seconds. Like, they gave away that football game in a lot of ways. And it was a weird, if in fact this is the end of this season for the Chiefs, it was a weird way for it to go down.
Yeah, I think it was a 4th and 4 on their side of the field, and I remember posting on I remember posting on X what in the Dan Campbell is going on here was the specific quote
Yeah.
what I said, because
Yeah.
this was a Dan Campbell move if I've ever seen it. It's not even, it wasn't even tush push distance, right? Like tush push distance, you have a stronger inkling. Is like, yeah, we should go. We should go. We're right here. We're half a yard. We're a yard, maybe two at most. It wasn't even tush push distance. It was a solid 4 yards. A solid, like, oh crap. And I'm thinking to myself, your receivers have been dropping balls all day. All day. And you're
Yeah.
thinking, oh, now we're gonna get a play now. And I'm like, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it from the standpoint that your defense had been playing well. You have a punter who can hit nukes, right? Like Ariza's got a leg. Okay,
Yeah.
that was why he was highly coveted from Buffalo, was because he had a strong leg that should do well in Buffalo in the elements. That's why he was drafted. So I'm thinking to myself, hey, they punt it. Defense gets one more stop because Houston, again, not really lighting it up. So I'm thinking, hey, they get a stop. Maybe they can come back, get a game time field goal. It's a whole different story. No, they decide, yeah, we're now. We're doing this now. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what am I watching? What am I watching right now? So I think this game is a microcosm of the Chiefs' whole season. Last year we saw them win an abnormal amount of close games, one possession games they really shouldn't have won, blocked field goals, last minute blunders by other teams that they took advantage of. And this year has been the exact opposite. They have found ways to lose these games. And I'm looking at a team that has a lot of problems, whether it's offensive line, whether it's situational football, whether it's a lack of consistency from their skill positions. They have no running game to speak of. You look at Pacheco's numbers, his first 2 seasons were like 800, 900 yards. He hasn't hit 500 since like 22. And granted, you could say he was hurt last year, but he's been relatively healthy this year for the most part. And it's been him and Hunt plodding away 3.3 yards a carry, 3.6 yards a carry, when that wasn't the case. And because you just can't win games with Patrick Mahomes as your leading rusher. You just can't. I don't know
Just
on
no.
what universe you
Can't.
think that's going to happen, but that's not how they won games before. That's not how, even on the run last year, where they had to focus more a little bit on the run game towards the back half of the season, and win, get to the Super Bowl via wild card. It's just not how they win football games. And I know that Andy's adverse to the run, but that's one place, along with the offensive line, that they need to seriously take a look at in the offseason.
Yeah. And I like, it's a hot topic conversation. Even last year, like, this is just what happens when a good team struggles. Is this the end of the dynasty? Is this the end of the road? Is this the whatever? You got the Brady Mahomes comparisons. Well, Brady, never missed the playoffs in a season he was healthy, and all this kind of stuff. And I think that's a lot of big picture stuff that I'm not ready to really have that conversation, honestly. Like the Brady Mahomes stuff, listen, Brady's the GOAT. When Mahomes wins 6 Super Bowls, or 7, I guess it was, we can talk about it. When he goes to 10 or whatever it was, we can talk about it. I don't have time for that conversation. It's Brady, and that's it for me, really. Like, there's no real, right? Like, everything Mahomes has done, 7 straight, 7 straight conference championships and all this stuff. For me, I still trust that franchise. I still trust Coach Reed. I still trust Mahomes. Worthy and Rice are supposed to be two formidable like receivers, and they just haven't been that. Rice missed almost half the season. How much does that matter? I think it does matter. But how much is the question?
Yeah.
Kelsey, surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, not that player anymore. Like, what does that mean? There's a ton of questions for sure. But I'm not ready to say that this is the end of anything. I just think, hey, man, they had a good run. They're going to miss the playoffs and try to regroup for next year before we move on. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, listen, the thing with Kelsey is probably the same thing with Andy Reid. They're in year-to-year territory. That question's always going to get asked at the end of the season, whenever that takes place for either of them. So, with that being said, Kelsey has made it known that he's gonna have that answer earlier this year. He wants to give them that answer before free agency gets cooking, so that they can make their plans accordingly. So that's great. Love that. They'll have, obviously they'll have options. They got Noah Gray on the squad. They picked up that guy from TCU, I believe, last draft or the draft before. That's supposed to be a decent pass catcher. I think they'll have options to, kind of like fill that void, so to speak. In the sense of, it's going to have to be a collective effort, because I mean, he's one of the best of all time. No one person's going to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're on a year to year. So I think, man, I think if anything, that the burn from last year, this kind of hangover season, if you will, this year, it can go one of two ways. It could either fuel a fire that still burns inside of them, or they could be like, you know what, we're trending the other way. I don't know if I want to keep. I don't know if I want to keep doing it. I don't know if I keep. I've got $1 billion empire that I'm about to go marry. So I may just want to spend the rest of my life being a Swiftie and podcasting with my brother.
And I mean, he got a lot of dough too, right? That's the thing, man.
He's acting too, getting into the acting game. So
yeah, I think the last thing that I'll say about this, and I find this very fascinating, and I know that I always kind of preface it with this. I don't know how many people watching on Total Apex, like, I don't know how many people care about the NHL or know about the NHL, but that's my world, and I'll just kind of, I'm seeing a lot of comparisons between the powerhouses in the NHL and the powerhouses in the NFL, in the sense that all of these teams that have been bad for so long, they're here now. Like, the Broncos are good. The Patriots are good. The Chargers still have that feeling in my gut that come playoff time, the Chargers are going to
they'll find a way to blow it.
But,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But they're good now.
Yeah.
Jacksonville, as much as like, listen, man, that was Trevor Lawrence's best game that I've seen him play. And I haven't watched like every snap of his career. I'm not some Trevor Lawrence guru, but I have said this many times that I don't buy it. I don't buy it with that guy. And I know there's that caveat of Daniel Jones getting hurt or whatever, but that defense is the defense. And I know Sauce Gardner was hurt too, but they put up 39 points on a professional football team. Like, that's not, you can't disrespect that. So it's not only about the Chiefs and what the Chiefs are going to do and how the Chiefs bounce back. It's the teams around them that have been so bad for so long, and you knew there'd be a playoff spot waiting for you. That's just not the case anymore. It's just not. Like, right now, 8-5 is that wild card spot, right?
Yeah.
Houston, Indianapolis are tied 8-5 for that 7th seed. The Buffalo Bills 9-4 are the 6th seed right now. Like, it's just not guaranteed. And with the NHL, we're having a conversation about the Edmonton Oilers. Same thing. Toronto Maple Leafs. Same thing. Like, all this a guaranteed spot that was waiting for you, that spot's gone now. So it'll be interesting to watch moving forward. All right. Speaking of that division, the Texans with the win go to 8-5. Jacksonville leads the division 9-4. Houston, Indianapolis 8-5. The Texans have the Cardinals this week, the Raiders next week, and the Chargers to close out the season. The Jaguars have the Jets this week, the Broncos next week, and the Colts to close out the season. The Phillip Rivers-led Indianapolis Colts have the Seahawks this week, the Niners next week, and finish the season against the Jags. A couple weeks ago, and shout out to you, my guy, for posting this on socials, I gave out the Colts to miss the playoffs at plus 550. And I loved it so much because we knew that Jones was hurt. And looking ahead to the schedule, clearly theirs is the least favorable of these 3 teams. Now, you have to win the division. The Jags are minus 185. Texans are plus 170. And the Colts are plus 2,700 to win that division. And I feel like the fact that the Colts and the Jags play at the end of the season, I feel like that's why the Jags are minus 185, because I do like these next 2 games. Despite the Jags playing the Jets, I like, you're telling me Houston's playing Arizona and then Las Vegas. Like, I love that 1-2 punch of the next 2 weeks for Houston. That
your offense could definitely get right against the Raiders. Definitely get right against the Raiders.
Well, sure. I hope so, dude. Talking about the Eagles, oh my gosh, man, I hope so this week. We're talking about plus 550 for the Colts to miss the playoffs. It's now plus 430 for them to make the playoffs. And so Jacksonville, Houston, Indianapolis, there's a world where 2 teams in this division do make it to the playoffs. Where are you at to win the division? Plus 170 for the Texans, minus 184 for the Jags, and plus 2,700 for the Colts. Where are you at for this division?
Well, listen, Jacksonville's in a really good spot, right? Never mind their record. Okay, 9-4, great, that's awesome. But it's what's in the 9 that's important, and what's in the 9 is a 35-6 win against the Chargers. So if it comes close with them, they own the tiebreaker on the head-to-head. And now they've got Denver coming up. They have Indy coming up. Listen, Denver's been on this roll where they're winning these close, unimaginably close games, and some miracle happens to where they win a game late, and then it's like, how long is that going to last? Right? For me, like, how long can you live off of that? We saw their competition last year live off of that, and it was a great season for them, and they lost in the end. There's a lot of people around me that say Denver's going to get got. Teams like Chicago, they're going to get got because they've been living off of these miracle games that they win. So I think, like I said, Jacksonville is in a really good spot, seeing a Titans team, seeing a Jets team who's been winning a little bit lately. Let's not gloss over that. Listen, I thought for sure that my under was safe. And listen, they've won a couple of games on accident here. and yeah, so I'm not gonna say that that's anything to kind of like sniff at and just say, yeah, automatic. Jacksonville hasn't earned the automatic just
No,
yet.
no.
So we can't say that, but I do like where they're trending, and I think they have 3 very winnable games. When you're talking about the Jets, when you're talking about the Colts, who's going to be the quarterback in that game? Who knows?
Yeah.
And then you got the Titans, who they beat 25-3 already this season. I love what they're doing. But I gotta say that for me the juice for me is with the Texans.
Me too.
The juice for me is with the Texans because you had a guy come in there in Davis Mills who had you tread water. Actually did better than tread water. He won enough games for this to be a reality, for them to actually think, hey, when Stroud comes back, we might be able to, and now it just feels like the stars are aligning. And I don't want to say that part of the stars aligning is, Daniel Jones getting hurt, because that sucks. But it just feels like things are happening in their favor, to where you got the Cardinals and Raiders coming up. I mean, those are two very winnable games. Chargers, we'll see where they're at in the postseason picture. Second to last game of the season. The juice for me is with the Texans. When you have the number 1 defense and all you're begging your offense to do is get the 20, I mean, that's a very great place to live in if I'm the Texans.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. All right, Brady, why does Mark have to like the NFL so much? No one wants to watch Grandpa Rivers. I could not disagree more. Everybody wants to see it, and it's just to see it. Like, of course you want to see it. And we want more NHL talk. Well, man, I appreciate that very much. I will say life around the Sauter household is extremely busy right now. We will be getting into more hockey podcasts. We will be doing some basketball as well. That was the plan, but things had to change a little bit. It is what it is, man. But hey, Brady, I know you're in high school. If you want to talk to your parents, pay me a salary. For no reason other than to talk about the NHL, and I'll talk about all the NHL you want. Brother. Yeah, dude. So you talk to your folks. Yeah. You talk to your folks. You get back to me. You know where to find me. But I appreciate that, though, man. Thank you. I mean, listen, Brady, there's lots to talk about. You're Vancouver Canucks, bro. I don't see no Toronto Maple Leaf slander on my timeline these days, eh? By the way, it was last Monday, so it's a bit outdated, but I was on a show, the S.O.S with Ryder and Lisa out in Edmonton, Oilers Nation. They had me on last week, and that was a really, really fun hockey chat, talking about the Central Division, talking about the Oilers. I made every Oiler fan hate me, which doesn't vouch well, because I've been trying to get my wife to move our family out to Alberta for the last 3 years, and I want to be welcomed when we get there. But that was a lot of fun. So Brady, if you need to hear me talk about NHL, it's a bit outdated, but the S.O.S with Ryder and Lisa, those two are awesome, and they had me on last week, so that was a lot of fun. All right, moving on. Before we get to the games, talking betting, there's a lot of storylines to go around, so I'm going to throw this to your court. All right.
Sure.
The Saints beating the Bucks. This Bucks meltdown, the Panthers being in the mix. The Bucks are still minus 300 to make it to the playoffs. The Panthers are plus 240, and I just don't agree with that at all. much like the Jags, and I'm not comparing the Jags and the Panthers, but much like the Jags can't be given the benefit of a doubt. They haven't earned it. Neither have the Panthers. But what we're seeing from Tampa Bay right now, what like that game on Sunday, man, like Tampa Bay, the only time they could convert a third down is if like Baker ran. Could not could like what were they 3 for 13 on third downs? The offense couldn't stay on the field and the defense couldn't get off. And it was just unbelievable to watch. So that is something that I find very fascinating. The Bears and the Packers, again, that game, and I think we've been trending in this direction, but it's taken me a while to get there. That game really, I'm excited to see what Caleb Williams becomes. I'm not even talking about the season. I'm not talking about the playoffs. Knows what the Bears are going to be, come January. If they get to the playoffs, which it looks like they will. But I'm just talking for the future. I think you can throw your hat in the ring for Caleb Williams and see how this evolves over the next couple of years. I thought that was huge. The Packers look really good again, which I think is a huge conversation. And the third topic, the Buffalo Bills, is what Josh Allen is doing. Is it enough for you to pick them to go on a Super Bowl run? Because that team is still very flawed. So that's the three I'll give you: Tampa Bay, Carolina, the Bears, Packers, and what we're seeing from the Bills right now.
Yeah, Tampa Bay, Carolina is going to get decided here in the next 4 weeks, right? Because they're going to play twice. So, we're going to know pretty soon how that's going to shake out. Listen, Tampa Bay's about to get healthy in the skill position area. I believe Mike Evans was activated off the IR. I believe Jalen McMillan also activated off the IR. So they're about to get all of their boys back on offense. Now, is Baker still a little tender with his off arm? Probably, but it's going to help a lot more having all his guys out on the field. I think you could say Emeka's kind of hit a rookie wall a little bit. Hasn't been as stout as he started off, which is, I mean, understandable because he started on fire. So hard to keep that up for a whole season. Given that guys start having more and more tape on you. So understandable that he kind of tailed off a little bit, but they're about to get super healthy. And then their off Panthers games are very favorable. So the two games I believe they have left outside of the Panthers, they have the Falcons and they have the Dolphins, which Dolphins have been playing well as of late. But when it gets towards the end of the season, I don't think they're gonna have enough magic in the bottle to kind of like sustain that all the way to the end of the season. So I think because of those favorable games, they would just have to win one of the Panthers games, in my opinion, to make sure that they win the division. Because the other two, I think they could beat the Falcons. I think they could beat the Dolphins. So my lean is towards the Bucks there. As far as what Buffalo's doing, listen, I heard this said on TV not too long ago that we're in Josh Allen season. And by Josh Allen season, I mean this is when he puts the team on his back, carries them into the playoffs, and then we sit back and look at it like, oh, this might be the run. This might be the run. And listen, I don't know if he's going to be able to do it by himself like that, but I will say that the big bad Kansas City Chiefs won't be there to meet them. I
Yeah,
think I feel safe in saying that. Um, so if that's the case, I mean, this has to be the year, right? And this is what makes it even more unfortunate for the disaster that is the Ravens right now. This would have been the year if they had a defense longer than half the season. This
I
would
know.
have been it because the big bad Chiefs weren't going to be waiting for them at the end of the season. So um I think there's enough vets on that team to kind of be like, hey, we've been knocking on this door a very long time and we need to catch lightning in the bottle and do it. So do I think it'll happen? My I'm with the Patriots. As much as I hate to say it, I'm with the Patriots. Um I just think they're the most balanced team, offense, defense, special teams. I think they'll be the ones at the end standing when they get down to it. Um but I wouldn't say it's a 0% chance for Allen. And as far as the last thing that you gave, what was the last thing, if you could remind me?
Green Bay looking good and believing in Caleb Williams.
Yeah, for me, I love what I'm seeing in Caleb recently. I think he's playing a little bit more on time. And I think if he can continue that um progression within Ben Johnson's system, he may get to a point where he's just so good in that offense that they could be like a well-balanced team because I think they have a pretty decent defense. Um they've had like almost no linebackers healthy for like the last 2-3 weeks, it's felt like. They've had a lot of injuries hit that defense. Also the secondary, I feel like Tyreek Stevenson's been out for multiple weeks this year too. Jalen is just now getting back, Jalen Johnson. So the defense has been hit with a lot of injuries. So we haven't seen like the level of consistency there that we'd like to see. But then Dennis Allen situationally has been, doing better than most in tight games. And I believe he got a game ball from Ben Johnson last week over his defense's performance. So I think they're about a year or so off from being, perennially that we could say, oh, perennially they're gonna be a problem. But my preseason pick was the Packers. I'm sticking to the Packers. I think that when you can stop the pass, stop the run as effectively as they do, when you've got Jordan Love protecting the football and now getting healthy as far as his receivers go, we've got Christian Watson back on board. Um, they've got just recently they got their slot receiver Jalen Reed is back. Jaden Reed is back, also healthy. So with all of those options available to them, you'd wish they'd had Tucker Kraft. Unfortunately, he's out for the year,
I know.
but
Uh,
they have enough there to where I think they make it to the end and get a top 2 seed in the NFC.
Yeah, my preseason pick was the Bills and the Eagles. The Bills, I'm gonna stick with it, and the Eagles we'll talk about another day because I have no idea what the heck's going on over there. All right, speaking of Buffalo, let's get to our picks. Brought to you by First Round Collectibles and Total Apex Sports slash Total Apex Media. Buffalo in New England. Now we talked about this. We're doing 6 games. We're not doing the Thursday nighter. Tampa Bay, Atlanta, whatever. We're doing 6 games. 5 of these spreads I do not agree with. Starting with this one. Buffalo in New England, -1.5 is -105 for Buffalo, +1.5, -115, +100 for the Patriots, -118 for the Buffalo Bills. The over 49.5 is -110, and the under is the same. What am I missing?
Yeah,
I know that the Patriots won the first meeting. I know it's divisional. I know a split is rational conclusion.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean that the Bills should be favored here.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree here. I'm 100% New England money line here. With the way that Buffalo uh, has not been able to stop the run consistently, I think you got two very capable backs in Henderson and Stevenson that can run roughshod. But even more than that, Drake May can pass the football. Like this isn't a team that's void of a passing quarterback. He's in the top 10 in passing yards, I'm pretty sure. And he's got guys on that side of the field as far as the skill positions who
And he's
have
in the
to make a
running
big
for the
run.
MVP, man. Like he's a
Makes
legitimate.
now it is a at 1.5, at 1.5, it's obviously a toss-up. So it's not a
Yeah,
complete disrespect.
nah, but
But
yeah.
I'm New England money line for sure here. And I believe in that defense so much that I'm taking James Cook's under 82.5 rushing yards.
Mm.
I just believe what Milton Williams has done for that defensive line. Um, I think they're gonna take that away from them. They're going to force him to win passing the football. And with the inconsistency of their pass catchers, I mean, they had to get Brandon Cooks. They were like on Brandon Cooks before the ink was dry on his exit from his previous team.
Yeah.
That's how desperate they were to get consistent pass catchers. But we'll see what happens. They'll have to prove me wrong. Um, I don't think this is a game that he's going to go in there and it's going to be 300 passing yards, 100 rushing yards, and he's going to will this team over New England. I just don't see it. I think Mike Vrabel knows he comes from the Belichick tree. He's going to take away what you do best, and they're going to try to take away James Cook, make Josh Allen pass the ball to win this game, and that's going to force them into turnovers.
And make no mistake, man, like that performance by Josh Allen was incredible. It was insane.
Absolutely.
We all love what we see from Josh Allen. You can argue, who's the best quarterback in the league as far as legacy and longevity or whatever, but to me, the most talented player in the NFL is Josh Allen. I don't even think you can have the conversation of, well, if you had to pick a quarterback for one game, who would it be and all that crap, fine. But if you're talking about the most talented player going right now, it's Josh Allen. It's unbelievable. Make no mistake, they won that game because of Josh Allen's heroics and Joe Burrow coughing up 2 balls in the fourth quarter. Like that was not like they won by 5 points. The Bengals covered if in that language. And that game was in the bag for Cincinnati. And Josh Allen had to be heroic, and Joe Burrow had to give up the ball twice.
Yep.
And that's why they right. That's the bottom line. All right. Moving on, Baltimore and Cincinnati. I do not agree with. Now I can understand it and I can get there. Probably agree with this one more than I do the Buffalo Patriots. But Baltimore -2.5 in Cincinnati, -115 for Baltimore, +2.5 is -105 for Cincinnati, -146 for the Baltimore money line, +124 for the Bengals. The over is 51.5 at -110. The under game. Listen, that offense for Cincinnati was phenomenal on the weekend. Obviously, we just talked about it was also their undoing. Yes, the defense for Cincinnati is an abomination. I do not trust the Ravens at all. At all. If I have to pick this game, and I know this is not the best way to go about it, but I'm just saying, like, if I have to pick this game based on a quarterback, even though he's missed the entirety of the season, basically, I'm picking Joe Burrow. He's looked incredible the last 2 weeks. I'm taking Cincinnati here, man. +124, +2.5. I would even flip it. I don't know if the alternate spreads are available right now. Alternate spread. -2.5. Cincinnati. Where are we here? +144. I think Cincinnati wins this football game. I don't trust the Ravens. Last week was the week that they had to play with some urgency, and they didn't. Now the likely touchdown, and there's some bad calls, and blah 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 blah. At the end of the day, they didn't do what they had to do to win that football game, and I'm picking Cincy here.
Yeah, listen, they just went up to Baltimore and beat the brakes out of them. I just don't see a world where the Ravens win this game. Like, listen, shout out to my friend Andrew, who's a diehard Ravens fan, and the first thing he does when he wakes up in the morning is he puts in the group chat some anti Harbaugh and some anti EDC Eric DaCosta tweets into the group chat, and I'm just like, man, your dedication to how much you hate your team for what they're doing to you right now is insane, but I approve. He just wants them to lose out so it'll force them to change. Like, he literally wants them to lose the rest of the season to force them to either change the head coach, change the GM, change the DC, change all three, whatever the case may be. He thinks that this current power structure is doing a disservice to his MVP, and he wants it to change. Small little note before I give you my pick. Me seeing the breakdown of that play towards the end zone to try to win the game, I believe, I want to say it was Brian Baldinger that put it on our Twitter, but I watched the play and he's dissecting this, and you just see DeAndre Hopkins in the back of the end zone, and he looks wide open. There's a guy maybe 3 feet this way, another guy 3 feet this way, but they're playing like a little zone thing because they're so close to the end zone that there's no reason to play man there. And the ball is literally going right to him, and he thinks he's got a game-winning touchdown, and he's waiting for it. And in from nowhere comes Mark Andrews, and he tips the ball up in the air, misses the catch, and you see Lamar Jackson running off the field with his head like this, and literally you see D-Hop with his hands in the position of where the ball was probably going to go had Mark Andrews not touched it. And he's just flabbergasted that they did not win this football game because the ball should have been so right here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, seeing clips like that, seeing Marlon Humphrey getting dusted on the outside, okay, and then you're talking about T. Higgins and Jamar Chase coming in there, S.O.S in the slot. You're talking about these guys coming in here with that. No, there's no way. There's zero way.
Dude, I can't remember it. I can't remember. There was another play in that game where the Ravens shot themselves in the foot. And I can't remember what it was, but there was another one. This is a conversation for another day. That Mark Andrews extension makes no sense.
Bro.
Like,
you both, brother.
Like, buddy who wants things to change, that right there tell you that nothing is changing. Yeah. You have Likely, who is probably going to free agency soon, and you're signing Andrews to an extension. I don't know, but that's a conversation for another day. All right. This next game, this is a spread that only makes sense if the books don't think that Herbert's playing, because he's questionable to play. Surgery on his non-throwing hand a couple weeks ago. That's the only way that this makes sense. The only way. There is no way. I don't care if it's an Arrowhead. The only way that they are 4.5-point favorites is if people think that Herbert's not playing, because we just talked about this. Like, we literally just went over this. Chiefs -4.5. minus 112, plus 4.5 for the Chargers, minus 108, plus 184 on the Chargers money line, minus 220 for the Chiefs. Over 41.5 is minus 110. The under is the same. For that reason, I have a hard time picking this game just because obviously if Herbert's not playing, that's a massive thing. The only thing for me here is that is this minus 4.5 a hedge? Like, would it be bigger if Herbert wasn't playing? And it would be shorter if he was. And because they don't know, they're putting it somewhere in the middle. Like that would be kind of where my mind goes with this. Listen, that Kansas City defense is still super legit. That offense I don't really trust, but you know what, man? That Chargers defense is coming into its own. Like they've been playing really well. That this team, as always, just battles injury year after year after year. And they're finding a way to win ball games. If I'm a Chargers fan, like that win against the Eagles, like you create 5 turnovers from Jalen Hurts and you still almost lose that football game. Like you still need a last minute field goal to tie the game. And then you win it. You get the points and then you win it because you picked off Jalen Hurts right in front of your own end zone. Like that's not a very comforting win if I'm the Chargers, and I know that the Eagles are the Super Bowl champs, but like let's be real about what's been going on in Philadelphia lately. Like it's that offense is abysmal right now. And AJ Brown, hey man, you're getting your touches, you're getting your yards, you're getting your TDs, and you've lost all 3 games. So I don't know what more you want. But anyway, I'm not dragging the Eagles into this. I'm just saying, like, that's where I would still take the points. Like I would still go Chargers plus 4.5. I think Kansas City beating anybody by more than a field goal is probably not realistic. However, without knowing, I can't really make a pick in like confidence. Probably pick that under though. I know 41.5 is a really low total, but this feels like a low scoring football game.
Yeah, my inkling is I think he goes. I think he goes because every game's a playoff game for them. Like I said, alluded to earlier, a team that they're going to be competing with for a spot is is Jacksonville, and they don't have the tiebreak against Jacksonville, so they want to make sure that they're staying ahead of that. Think it's too late for the division, me personally, with the way Denver's cooking. So they definitely want to they definitely want to solidify their spot, so they're gonna need all their guys to go. My inkling, my lean, Chargers plus 4.5, honestly.
Yeah.
I just don't see it from the Chiefs. They'll play with a lot of heart. If they win the game, it's definitely gonna be close. I don't think it's by more than a field goal. So I think a good way to hedge the bet is taking the points here. As far as a prop bet here, um, give me Owe getting a sack. I think since he's been with the Chargers, he's been cooking. Much to the dismay of my friend Andrew, because he didn't have a single sack with the Ravens before he got traded there. So just another thing he's pissed about. He's always got more sacks for the Chargers than anyone on the Ravens have by themselves. Like he's done more in these like 6 or 7 games than any one person on the Ravens. I think the Ravens leader in sacks might still be Matabuke, who hasn't played since week 2. So that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's a tough sled.
Yeah, if you find Owe sack at 0.5 or whatever, that's an easy, especially with Wande being hurt, and then Josh Simmons still kind of probably not 100% coming back from his injury. That's an easy play for me.
All right, moving on to the 4:30 slate, and this is the best 4:30 slate that we've had in a while. All of these, I mean, Tennessee, San Fran, that's a tough one, but Detroit, LA, Carolina, New Orleans, Green Bay, Denver, those are all the Colts, Seahawks. Those are all games, man. Those are all games, important games. And we go to Detroit and Los Angeles Rams. -5.5 for the Rams at -115. +5.5 is -105. -270 for the Rams money line. +220 for the Lions. Over 54.5 is -120, and the under is -102. I think that the Rams are the best team in the NFL. I think they're the most complete team in the NFL. The Detroit Lions, I obviously loved what I saw last Thursday. Not only did they win, but they beat the Cowboys, which always makes me happy. I think that spread is pretty high. Like, I don't love the number. Although if I have to go somewhere with it, I would go Rams here. As talented as the Lions are, I just, to me, the inconsistency of that offense just does not bode well against a team like the Rams. I wouldn't bet this personally. I would not bet this with my own money. But if I have to go away with it, I would probably go Rams. But that spread is a little bit too high for my liking. Where are you at?
Yeah, give me the Rams minus the 5.5. Listen, there is a reason why Frank Ragnow was going to be willing to get off the couch and go play football for his team. They needed it. Okay. Yeah. They absolutely needed it. Okay. Because that interior of their offensive line is terrible. And I've been saying it for weeks on this show. There's zero confidence that I have in that defense. And you're telling me that guys like Tate Ratledge are supposed to stop Kobe Young? They're supposed to stop Jared Verse, Brandon Fisk? Yeah, not gonna happen. So I think the Rams get it done. Detroit secondary's in shambles. Brian Branch is out. Kirby Joseph is out, or he's definitely not 100%. So that means the back end of that defense is suspect, and they just gave up like almost 400 yards to Dak Prescott. So easy for me to pick the Rams here. And I'm going to take Matthew Stafford's over in 276.5 passing yards, just because the secondary is going to be the key to their offensive attack, and they've got dogs in Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua. You got Tutu Atwell. They got guys there that they can get some yardage with.
Yeah, and Puka, that guy, I love how he makes every catch harder than it has to be. Like, he just has to make his catches look cool, which is just like phenomenal.
Catch it between his legs. Catch it from back
here. I know. I heard a different podcast. I can't remember which podcast it was, so I'm not taking credit for this. But I heard a different podcast say how it's like when you're like playing catch with a football in the pool, and you're you're in the pool and your buddy is like running and jumping into the pool and you're like throwing like, and he's like, I'm going to catch it. Like, that's what it's like. Just like, I'm just going to try these things live on a football field and see what happens. All right. Moving on. Green Bay and Denver. -2.5. This is another one that I don't agree with. I think, listen, like the Buffalo New England line, yes, it's -2. I mean, that's -1.5, but you know what I mean? It's close enough where it's almost a pick 'em. I know Green Bay has been really good the last few weeks. Denver is like, they're at the top of the conference. It should be like, I don't know. Like, to me, and I'm not saying that I even think Denver's going to win. I'll be honest with you. I do not have a side in this game. This is all you, man. I really, really don't know. I have been week after week. I don't trust what I'm seeing from the Packers until the last few weeks, man. The last few weeks have really shown me something, and it's still a gut instinct to not trust this team. That Denver defense is really good, but so is the Packers defense. Then you have Denver, who just, when they play good teams, they don't show up to the fourth quarter. So I really don't know which way to go here. But to lay it out for you, Packers -2.5, -110. Broncos +2.5, -110, -134 on the Packers money line. Broncos +114, 42.5 is the total. -118 is the over. -104 is the under. Where are you at with this game? Because I can't help you.
I'm Denver money line here. Denver has not lost at home this season. In my preseason, I had picked Green Bay to win over 11 games. They're currently where they're at right now. I feel good about them winning out after this game, which would put them at exactly 12. Was it 12-4-1? Which would put them just over their number. So that's my lean here. I just think Denver just keeps finding ways to win in the second half of football games. It's just kind of just their thing, I guess. And I just feel a vibe that's happening there. As far as their team is, they're ready for the postseason, and they're treating every game, every close game, as an opportunity to get better. And you can't teach that. Like, it's just whatever they've got cooking, it's working. So my lean is Denver winning. I think it's just really stout. They're really stout at home. And I think they come out with a close victory, probably by a field goal here. And then my lean on the prop pick, as good as Green Bay is running the football, they did let two backs together get over 100 yards last week. I think along with Green Bay's offensive line was great last week, by the way. Denver, I think, has a top 5 offensive line as well. And I think that RJ Harvey would be able to get over 50 yards in this game. I just think they'll want to establish some balance and not put it completely on Bo Nix. And if they do need to supplant the run game, Peyton loves to throw those short passes as an extension of the run game to kind of get short completions, 4 here, 3 there, get you in advantageous down and distance. So I think that's what they'll be able to do before they try to start attacking over the top.
All right, moving on to the last game from us for the week at the end of the 4:30 slate here. Indianapolis, the much talked about, much maligned, not maligned, that's not the right word, but the much talked about Indianapolis Colts in -13.5. Colts 18.5. Minus 115 for the Seahawks spread, minus 105 for the Colts, minus 1,200 for the Seahawks, plus 750 for the Colts, 42.5, minus 110. The under is the same. So here's the thing. It is impossible to pick this game in good confidence, not knowing who's playing quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. And even if you did, like, okay, the fact that if Philip Rivers plays, like, what does that even do for you? Like, does that like make you feel like, does that bring the 13.5 down? Really? Like, that's going to do it for you? I have been impressed. Clearly, the Seahawks beat teams that they're supposed to beat, and they beat them by a million. The Seahawks have been extremely impressive. I also think that the Colts have some pride here. That defense, as lit up as they were on the weekend, they're no slouch. This is too many points. I don't care who the quarterback is. I think this is too many points. I think the Colts are fighting for their lives, and I think they're going to bring it. I would love to bet them plus 750. I think that is borderline irresponsible, but I do think that plus 13.5 is fine, and I'll take the Colts. I'll take the points. But again, I don't know if you can really bet on this game without fully knowing what's going on behind center for the Colts.
Man, I really hope it's Rivers, bro. I really hope it's Rivers, bro, because I'm going Colts plus 13.5, man. I just don't think, even with Riley Leonard at quarterback, I don't think they're 13 points worse than the Seahawks. I just don't. Will they win by at least a touchdown? Quite possibly, with either quarterback at the helm. But 13.5 is just too much. And until we know who's going to be under center, we don't know if that 13.5 is going to be maybe 10.5, maybe 9.5. We just don't know. So if you want to sprinkle a little something, just, a little fiver, try to, make triple your money. I don't know what that ends up being, but plus 13.5. That's the play for me. And because I know no matter who's at quarterback, they're going to make them win the game, I'm taking Jonathan Taylor's under in rushing yards, because anybody with a brainstem knows that that's going to be the guy that you need to stop, regardless of who's behind center this weekend. It just actually behooves you to completely shut down JT if you're going to get to that 13.5 number. So give me his under. His under's not out yet because, again, they don't know who the quarterback is. So there's literally no offensive odds available right now for the Colts until they figure that out, until that's announced.
And like I said, man, who knows? And I mean, like that's not to like poo-poo. Like, what's going on in Seattle is awesome. Like, I'm really happy for Darnold. I'm really happy for this team. Excuse me. I think it's terrific what they've been able to do. I think with Geno Smith, they were like right there. They were competitive, made it to the playoffs. And the fact that they've been able to obviously like ante up that receiver room with the draft, and just like they got rid of Lockett, they got rid of DK, they brought in new pieces, they kept that running back room together with Walker and Charbonnet, and throwing in Sam Darnold. What they've been able to do is terrific, man, and I'm really happy to see that team do well. All right, everybody, Thank you so much, as always, for joining us. We appreciate it so much. I know we were gone last week, so it was great to be back. We will be back next week. Check us out, Solder on Sports, Java Joe Sports, both of those on X. Brady would be happy to know. Still haven't had a follow yet, Brady. You wanted me to be on TikTok. I'm on TikTok. So where are you, buddy? I'm doing this for you. I don't care how many views my video gets. I'm just looking for you on there, and I haven't seen you yet. Everybody, thank you so much. Once again, first round collectibles, promo code sports10 for up to 10% off regular price items and up to 60% off sales price items. Also, Total Apex Sports and Total Apex Media. You want to know about your team, want to know about your sport, DFS, fantasy, betting, they have it all. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you